Hey, welcome back to Sober Now. I'm Jim LaPierre, and I want to wish you a very happy holiday season. But if you're anything like folks that are near and dear to me in recovery, the holiday season might not be something that you enjoy. It might be something that's just stressful and feels like a series of chores, or it might be a time of year where you feel obligated. Perhaps there are relatives, people that have been relatively toxic in your life, but you feel a sense of obligation. You feel some excessive loyalty, which is really common amongst us. And you feel like you have to incur a lot of travel, time, and expense to spend time with people that you really don't like. I always encourage people to consider, who do you want to feel obligated to you? And of course, no healthy person wants that. But it was instilled in us. And I think it's really well worth looking at, who taught you that you're obligated to your family of origin, because chances are they taught you that. Um, the holidays are a time where we kind of naturally take stock. We look back, we look at where we are today, and we look at where we're going. And sometimes we're just not happy with what we see. This is the time of year where people usually tell me about their seasonal affective disorder, which, by the way, has the greatest acronym ever. It's SAD. And I do know that seasonal affective disorder is a very real problem for millions of us, actually, especially my friends who live in Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. But I know for millions of us, it's not really about the season per se. It's not about the amount of sunlight. It's about the holidays. It's about spending time with unhealthy people. It's about the fact that, well, for me, um, especially growing up, the holidays always seemed like they were supposed to be this wonderful thing. There was supposed to be an experience. There was supposed to be something that felt like family, and instead, holidays always felt disappointing to me. Early on in my marriage, I would drive my wife nuts because I'd want to buy everything in the world for our children. I would just go to every extreme. And then there'd be this letdown where I never quite got the experience that I wanted to have. Because, of course, what I was looking for was to fill an emptiness. It was the product of not having had those experiences myself as a child, not in terms of material things, but in terms of feeling a part of and valued and loved. And so, quite often, wherever we are in recovery, we have to start some new traditions. We have to be willing to do things differently because otherwise, we're just kind of subconsciously pursuing a way to fill emptiness. So, let's take stock. First of all, if you have children, if you have a partner, you have some people in your life that you have some level of responsibility to, but you're not obligated to anybody. Well, there's one notable exception to that. If you're anything like me, chances are you owe you a lot. And I hope that you'll make good on that. Not just in the holiday season, but year round. I hope that if you struggle with depression, particularly this time of year, I hope that you'll stick to the basics. I'm talking to people all the time who dread this time of year because reduced daylight and cold weather. And so, what do? We stay on the couch and we don't socialize and we eat bad food. And then we wonder why our depression's getting worse. So, I say getting out of the house, obviously, exercise, good nutrition and hydration, good sleep patterns. Really combat depression. I say removing toxic people from your life reduces depression dramatically. And I understand that that's a really uncomfortable thing to do. For me, the most painful part of removing toxic people was letting go of the false hope that things would change, that the people that I most wanted to be part of my life simply didn't have what I needed. They were not going to get healthier themselves. And so that brought me back to self, where I had to say, okay, They're not going to change. What are the changes that I need to make so that my quality of life and my health and well-being can be better? Because everything else, any passive approach to that, just fed my depression and just left me feeling like people were disappointing, holidays were disappointing, everything was disappointing. And there's something rather unique about disappointment for folks in recovery. We already tend to have very low expectations of others. Conversely, we have very high expectations of ourselves because we don't want to let other people down. And yet, we will go to great lengths to avoid being disappointed. And it's hard to be honest with yourself about the quality of the relationships in your life, about the people that you have perhaps been excessively loyal to. What do they actually bring to the table? What do they actually build or bring to your life? So I hope that as you go through the holiday season and you quite naturally take stock, you look at where your life is and where you're going, that you'll decide to keep things really simple. If there are things in your life that you know make you unhappy, let's look at that. Are there some of those things that can be removed? Are there healthy things that can be added? I kind of cringe when people start talking about New Year's resolutions because too often I think those are bullshit promises that we make to ourselves with no real commitment and no real conviction. So I'll challenge your willingness. What are you willing to add to your life? What are you willing to remove to your life? And let's put some accountability to that, because otherwise it's just a nice idea. And it's always amazing to me that for as much as it pains us to disappoint others, too often we see it as acceptable to disappoint ourselves. So whatever it is that you most want to experience this holiday season, please be honest with yourself about what that is, and then look at the people that you seek that from and ask yourself, do they really have that to offer? Be true to yourself. Make some good investments. Move away from the same patterns that have always made you miserable. I promise that you're not obligated to anybody, but I hope that you'll make good on filling that emptiness with healthy things. So, happy holidays. Please write to me. Please, jim@sobernow.com. I would love to get your topic suggestions or questions that you'd like to see answered. Please give us a like and a subscribe on the video. And please take excellent care of you. Thanks.